Hi, konnichiwa, minasan. Hello, everyone. This is the 9th English Symposium. Welcome, welcome. I see there are already 37 people in the chat. Welcome, welcome. Hello. Okay, so let's get started. まずはちょっと日本語で、説明をしたいと思います。で、その後は、英語にします。では、まずこの、世界遺産を、巡る旅、という、第9回のシンポジウムに参加していただきありがとうございます。本日司会を務めてさせていただく、カフェトークスタッフマレーンと申します。よろしくお願いします。カフェトークでは、4月18日の World Heritage Day 世界遺産の日をきっかけにして、4月全体を World Heritage Month にしました。で、世界中の先生たちがいろいろな、世界遺産を紹介するレッスンの特集ページを公開しています。で、その特集ページから、今日は6人の講師たちが、このシンポジウムに参加してくれて、で、講師たちと一緒に英語で世界遺産について学んでいきたいと思います。で、まずですが、天香先生が、ナイジェリア出身で、ナイジェリアの、イダンレヒルズという長い歴史、を持つ山について、そしてその山にある建物とかその歴史についていろいろ教えてくれます。で、その次は、ローレン先生が、バージニア州の世界遺産について教えてくれます。なので、アフリカから、アメリカに移動して、で、その次はヨーロッパ、イタリア、すみません、こちらですね。名前が似ていますが、書き方がちょっと違う、ローレン先生が、イタリアの魅力、イタリアのいろんな、世界遺産について、教えてくれます。で、その次はアジア、インドにまた移動して、シリン講師が、きっと皆様もご存知の、タジマハルの素晴らしい愛の物語について教えてくれます。で、その次はカナダ出身で、今、ジョージア、そしてグルジアともそういう発音も、する国の、名前なんですけど、そのジョージア、グルジアに住んでいる、ダンテ講師が、その国の世界遺産、教会とかについていろいろ教えてくれます。で、そして最後には、もう一度アフリカに戻って、南アフリカ出身の、ハンネ先生が、花の王国の南アフリカについて教えてくれます。そしてシンポジウムの時はもしご質問や、すみません、ご質問やコメントがあれば、英語でも日本語でも大丈夫ですので、気軽に右下にある、チャットボックスから、送信お願いします。多分今、右側にもいろいろカフェトークからのメッセージも出ていると思いますが、あそこのチャットです。で、配信途中に、使える応援ポイントの機能があって、今回参加の講師を応援されたい場合は、右側のチャットの上からポイント額を選択していただいて、そこから送信できます。ポイント合計額を、参加講師で分けて付与させていただきます。そして、右側に、それもチャットの上なんですけれども、セミナー資料のところがあって、配信に先生たちが使われるプレゼンの資料、をもし後でもう一度見たい場合は、そこからダウンロードもできるし、直接その、ページ内からも開けます。それでは、もう一回、英語に戻りたいと思います。Okay, everyone. So let's, I'm still sharing the screen, I think. So let's just go a little bit back. Okay, welcome to this seminar. And I'll stop sharing the screen and then we can all hopefully soon see our faces. So hello, everyone. Hi, welcome, welcome. Okay. Yeah. Oh, it looks like we're still waiting for Shirin to show. She was there earlier, so I'm sure she'll join again. But I think first we will start with Amaka. So yes, if you would like to unmute yourself,
Okay.
and then feel free to share your screen whenever you want.
All right. Hold on, please.
Okay.
Okay, please let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, perfect. We can see it now.
All right, great. Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Amaka, like she said, and I'm from Nigeria. And today I would like to take everyone on a little virtual tour to a place called Idanre, or in English, Idanre Hills. So Idanre Hills is located right here in Nigeria, to be precise, Ondo State, Nigeria, and is the southwestern part of Nigeria. That's where Idanre Hills is located. And okay, so a brief introduction about Idanre Hills. Like I said, is located here in Ondo State, and the height of the hills or the mountains, whichever you want to call it, is actually 3,000 feet above sea level. So this is not an estimated number, but it's an exact number. So you can imagine how high it is, just like you see in the first picture and these other pictures here. The Idanre people lived on these hills for close to 800 years. So they did everything possible that you can think of on the hills, and they decided to move down to the downhills in 1923. And this due to civilization. They needed to keep up with the pace of Nigeria and the rest of the world, and it was becoming, I guess, too taxing, maybe coming down and up like that. But everything you can think of, they did on these hills. They lived as a community, as a group of people on the hills for so many years. It's actually amongst UNESCO's list for heritage sites, so it is a very good place and lovely place to visit. And it's Idanre Hills, lots of people visit it yearly, scientists, researchers, even movies are acted on here. And it's also home to bats. I don't know why, but it attracts bats, so I don't know. But it's a very beautiful place anyway. So like I said, these people lived here for so long, and there are lots of interesting places to see, actually, places of interest. And first of all, you have the old settlements or buildings, if you call it. And this is where the old Idanre people lived, right on top of these mountains. And you can see from the pictures here on the screen, and just some of the buildings that still exist with your old, the old buildings and houses, as you can see. But the first thing you actually take note of when you get to Idanre are the steps. And the steps are actually 682 in number. And probably not a lot, but a lot, I guess, and could be very taxing maybe. But as you get climbing, over the years, they provided 5 resting places. If you look at the pictures by your right, you see there's some things built just close to the staircases. So while you're climbing and you get tired, you can just decide to rest along the way. And the first picture, I think someone actually tried numbering it and stopped at 153. So I guess the person got tired along the way. But yeah, those are the first thing you notice, the steps all the way from downhill to the top of the hill. Then one of the most interesting places is the ancient palace. And that where you have people in Africa, we have villages and all that. We definitely have kings, and the Idanre people were not left out. And this was also on top of the mountain. And you can see different pictures of what the place still looks like till tomorrow. And interestingly, there are some carved images, as you can see on the screen. And these carved images actually serve like a pillar for the roof of the building. So it's not like too big or anything, but they serve like the pillars. And these pillars represent individuals that you find in the palace at that time, even till tomorrow anyway. So like, for example, the third one by your right below, This is a carved image of a god. So a god with a hat and probably what might be a gun or something on his hand. And the others are carved images of their servants, slaves, and priests that served in the palace. And the palace still has like some places that no one is allowed to go to, only the king, probably the priest. So interesting places like this. Because of time, I won't be able to talk about that. But this is one of the interesting places to visit. Then we have the first school. So this first school was built when the first missionaries arrived in Idanre in the 1880s, early 1880s. So this was the first primary school that was built for them. Then to your right, you have the old customary courthouse. And below that is what the inside of the courthouse looks like. So whoever was, going to be in court that day, or how do you put it, they will be in this little space. And to your left, you have the first prison cell that was built. Yeah, not so big anyway, so I wonder how many people could fit into it. But these were the first school, first old courthouse. And at the background of these pictures, if you notice, you see the beautiful different sizes and shapes of the mountains that you have. So that's just how much the whole place is surrounded by mountains. Moving on, we have other places. Like I said, they did everything they could on top of the mountains, and they even had two rivers that served them. One was the Aron River, and the other was the Thunder Water, which still exists to tomorrow anyway. And the Thunder Water, let me talk about that a little. It was said that when they were going for battles, the battlemen will be asked to drink out of this water. And anyone who got satisfied after drinking it would be successful in battle. But if you didn't get satisfied, then I guess you are advised to either stay behind, or if you still go, you could either get really injured or probably was die. So that was the significance of the water to the people then. Then below that, we have what we call Agbogun footprints. So Agbogun was the founder of Idanre and the first king, probably the first person who started to live on top of the mountains, and he was made king as the founder of the place. And he made this footprint on one of the top of the mountains up in the hills there. He made this footprint, and it is said that the footprint serves as a lie detector. That is to say, you know how in most countries, most people then they used to fish out witches and kill them or whatever. But this footprint, till date, it says anybody's feet can fit into this. But if yours don't fit in, then probably you're an outcast or a witch or whatever it is. So it's like a lie detector they used then. Then to your right-hand side below, right, you see is a shrine, and the present shrine priest, this is the actual present one, and no one is allowed entry into this house, only the priest. Your females are not allowed. Males are only allowed if you're half naked. And yeah, I think it's a practice that still goes on till tomorrow for the Idanre people. And there are so many festivals that go on yearly over there. So this house, as old as it is, the shrine, still serves as a shrine for them yearly. Then something interesting too, we like call it the mystery as it's called, is the mysterious writing on one of the mountains up there. So no one knows exactly what it is, the meaning, nobody knows. But according to some people, they said it means we will be here for a long time. But so many scientists, researchers have tried to like decipher or code what it is, but no one has. So until then, it still remains a mystery. So it's definitely something to see, to look at as well. And below, like I said, yearly, there are different traditional ceremonies that go on. up there. So people leave, the villagers leave downhill and go up to perform these rituals, because despite the fact that they no longer live up there, but they still view the mountains as a sacred place, somewhere they once lived and raised children. So yearly they perform rituals, ceremonies, and lots of things like that. Then we have the Wonderful Rock, as it's called. And it's called a Wonderful Rock because of its size and its shape, actually on top of one of the mountains. And if you look, you can't see it though, but there's like a stone underneath it. That's probably what is holding it still. But it is indeed wonderful, because you wonder how much a tiny thing like this could hold something this big. And it has been resting on this mountain for God knows how long. So definitely something to see, and the view from up there is spectacular as well. To your right, you have what you call marriage screening stone. So this one is interesting because when you're a man and you feel like it's time for you to get married, then you'll be brought to where this stone is located, and you'll be asked to raise the stone up to your chest level. And if you're able to hold it up probably for a few seconds or a minute, then you'll be found worthy of getting married, becoming a man. That is, you're a man now to get married. So any tourists who visit there, they still like try to raise it up and see if they're able-bodied or something like that. And the last one is just a beautiful view of Idanre. Yeah, something I left out before back to the palace. I just wanted to talk about during each festival, one of the festivals, there's a ceremony that goes on for the king, and each year they kill a cow or a ram, whichever it is, and the score of the animal is kept somewhere in the old palace here. So when the king dies, they take it and they count it just to know how long he lived or he reigned. So it's just like a form of calendar to keep time on how long the king lived. And there are other things to talk about, but because of time, this is where I'll end it. And hopefully, if anyone wants to know more later on, I could explain more. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Amaka. That was so interesting. Let me see what we have in the chat. Okay, the student called Makiko, Makiko-san says, it's so nice that there's a place to rest on the way up because there are so many steps. Yeah, I thought it was funny that the person who numbered the steps just gave up halfway through. So I was actually wondering, have you been there yourself?
No, I haven't, but a sibling has been. So I got the information from her and information from the internet. So she went, so it's as good as me going anyway.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I plan to anyway.
Yeah, no, it's really beautiful. And like you said, I mean, here we can see it too. The view is really stunning. So the history is interesting, but it's worth going up to see that view, I'm sure. And yeah, I also found really interesting that it's both kind of a museum site, but still actively used by the people who live there for their religious practices and things like that.
Yeah.
Oh, another student, Nana Minori, says the footprint was very interesting. Yeah, I thought so too. It has an interesting shape as well. So
yeah,
makes you wonder how it got there, and an interesting legend too. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Yeah, that's the questions we have so far.
Okay.
If anyone wants to ask something else, feel free to just keep commenting. もし他に後で思いついた質問とかあったら、ぜひ後でもぜひ書いてください。Yeah. Any of the other tutors, is there anything you wanted to mention or ask about that place? If not, that's fine as well. Okay, we're good. Okay, no problem. Yeah. Then yeah, let's go to the the next topic. So I think next we're moving to the US. So Lauren would be next.
Yeah, that's me. So hello. It's going to be a little hard to follow Amaka's because that was such a rich and interesting place. But yeah, let me share my screen before I start talking. All right. So the place that I'm presenting is called Monticello. Hold on, let me
Yes, we can see it.
You can see it fine?
Yes.
Okay. Hold on. I'm having issues with my controls, some
No
technical
problem.
issues.
Please take your time. To us, it looks fine.
Okay. All right. Okay, I think I've got it under control. All right, so I'm excited to talk to you all today about a World Heritage Site not too far from where I live in the United States. So the United States is big, but we actually only have 24 World Heritage Sites in the whole country. One of them is in Virginia. And if you don't know where that is, you're in luck because I have a map. All right, so Virginia is a state on the eastern coast of the United States. It's about in the center, and it's one of the oldest states in the country. And the orange rectangle at the top corner is our national capital, Washington, D.C., which more of you might be familiar with. The orange circle further down is our state capital, Richmond, which is where I'm from, approximately. And then the purple star is where the site of Monticello actually is, in an area called Charlottesville. This is about the area where mountains start. So where Richmond is and Washington, D.C. is, there aren't mountains, but on this side of the state, there are. And the name Monticello actually comes from the Italian word for little mountain. And the site of Monticello, as well as its founder, Thomas Jefferson, are featured on the nickel, our 5-cent coin. Right, and next slide. So Thomas Jefferson was the third president of the United States, and he is incredibly important in early American history. Monticello is actually his personal home that he had built starting before the United States independence, but it wasn't finished being built until about 50 years later. So it wasn't finished being built until the early 1800s. One of the main reasons that Monticello is recognized as a World Heritage Site is because of its usage of neoclassical architecture. Neoclassical architecture means that it is a style of architecture that refers to ancient Greek styles of architecture. So if you've ever seen pictures of ancient Greek ruins, like the Pantheon or the Colosseum, there's a lot of columns, there's a lot of symmetry, so where two sides are the same, and there's a lot of very simple colors, so maybe just white and red. Even if there's intricate designs, the colors are very simple. And next slide. So like I mentioned before, Monticello was Thomas Jefferson's personal home. And so he used the gardens and the inside of his house for research. He was an academic. He used plants from his gardens to study, and inside of his house, he used many different tools, one of those being a revolving bookcase, which I believe he made himself in order to reference multiple books at once. And if you go to Monticello, you're able to explore the gardens, which are still upkept today. This is a modern day, both of these are modern day pictures. And you can see some of the different things that he used for his research, see his bookcases, and the interior of his home. So these are places also designed by Thomas Jefferson. The lower of the two is the University of Virginia, which was mentioned previously, but it's actually the combination of Monticello and the University of Virginia that is a World Heritage Site. And the reason for that is they're both created by Jefferson, and they both feature this neoclassical architecture. And you can see that by this big overhead view of a lot of columns, a lot of white and red, and a lot of symmetry. A lot of old buildings in Virginia, a lot of old universities look very similar to this. A lot of brick and a lot of white trim. The upper building is our state capitol building, our lawmaking building in Richmond. So a little bit further away, but it's a place that's used today for the same governmental purposes that Jefferson was involved in back in the day. Now, these buildings are not part of Monticello, nor were they designed by Jefferson, but they're more representations of this neoclassical architecture. Neoclassical architecture is meant to symbolize ideas like democracy and other American ideals. And so many places in Washington, D.C. are also in this style, including the White House, our monuments, one of those which is in the top corner, one of the top corners, and many of our old museums in the other corner utilize this style. And you can see how all of them have very similar design elements. Again, columns, white, intricate designs in some part, and very much symmetrical. And they bring back this image of the ancient Greeks. Europeans also really favor this idea and these ideals of ancient Greece. And it was really popular during the 1700s and the 1800s in Europe and America to build with these ideas in mind. And if you can think of any places that you've heard of or seen with your own eyes or in pictures that have these architecture elements, you can put them in the chat, think about it. But that's actually all I have to share about Monticello and neoclassical architecture, just a little taste of some of the history in Virginia. And I hope everybody learned something interesting about my home. And after this live stream, I will be available on standby. And you can usually find me on standby or offering other lessons as well if you want to check me out.
Yes, thank you very much. That was so interesting. So again, I have the same question. Have you been there, since you say you live quite close by?
Yes, of course. I believe Monticello is a place that it's about an hour and a half away from where I live personally. And so it's not unheard of for field trips to go there in elementary school or middle school, along with, other historical sites. And of course, when you're young, it's a little bit, you're just kind of wandering around. But my friend, I actually have quite a few friends who went to the university as well. So I'm actually more familiar with that space.
Nice. Yeah, it must be really interesting to study in such a historical building.
Yeah, definitely.
Really impressive. Also, one thing that the bookcase that you introduced reminded me of was how today we all have our browsers with lots of tabs open, and you basically had the same with books, right? You would have like book tabs open. Yeah. So maybe humans are very similar, depending on the time. We're just, the core is the same.
Yeah, definitely. I can see this being very useful for a college student, even 20 years ago, before the internet was very,
definitely.
Was very good.
Nice. Okay, let's see what we have in the chat. Makiko-san says, all of the buildings are super beautiful. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I didn't show the very clear picture of Monticello for very long, so just went back to that really quickly. But yeah, I think Virginia's architecture, old buildings in Virginia are very very pretty.
Very pretty. And so Monticello and the university are like spatially also connected. You can walk from one to the other, or?
Monticello is a little bit more up on the mountainside, and the University of Virginia is a little bit more in the valley where the town is. But they are within a short bus ride away. They're in the same like town, so to speak.
Okay, yeah. So if anyone wanted to visit, they could easily do both in the same day.
Oh yeah, easily.
Nice. The student called Sachs says, do these buildings need to be repaired every 5 or 10 years? Do you know anything, or what do you think about that?
I believe that renovations that have occurred are pretty long-standing. So Monticello has been renovated a bit to add electricity and running water in certain areas, but it doesn't have to go through that frequent of renovations, I believe. And a lot of similar with the university, there were a lot of old standing academic buildings, or kind of like the hallmark buildings called the Rotunda, was recently kind of renovated, and it's just kind of good to walk in and out of for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, especially with the university, if it's still used, then they have to make it in a way that it's usable but still preserves the buildings. Then another student, Kohate Haha, says, Kohate Haha-san says, アメリカに World Heritage Sites が20しかないのは驚きですね. Oh, they're surprised that there are only 24 World Heritage Sites in the US. And they're wondering how many there are in Japan. 私もちょっと知らないんですね. I don't know that either.
It's very difficult.
Yeah, since Japan has such a long history.
It's very intense to do the application process.
Yeah.
For it.
Yeah, I think some of the tutors in the campaign are also talking about places that have applied, but it's still going through the process. So yeah.
Yeah, that actually applies to Virginia's our legislative building, because it was also designed by Jefferson. It has a similar reason for getting the status as the University of Monticello do, but it's currently still just at the bid stage.
Okay. Oh, and a voice in my ear, no, in the chat, I can act like I'm on TV, just told me there are currently 25 World Heritage Sites in Japan, 20 cultural and 5 natural ones. So one more than the US. Wow. Yeah. And just a random thing I thought about, but it's interesting that they made all of these buildings in like white to remember like the Greek style. But I think in recent years, we've learned that a lot of the like Greek buildings were actually painted on the columns. So it's interesting that they made that as an homage, but it might be different. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think we've seen all the chat questions. Yes, thank you for stopping the screen share. And then let's go to another continent again. Next, let's go to Italy. Lauren, are you ready?
Yes. Hello, my name is Laura. I come from Italy. I was born in Rome, and now I am happy to show you some of the World Heritage sites in Italy, which are a lot, because I think that Italy itself is a World Heritage site. So it was very hard to choose which one I could show you.
We'll get a selection. Nice.
Yeah. Of course, the first site I want to show you is the Adrian Villa in Tivoli, which is located in Rome, of course. And yes, and it was, this is a big villa, and it was built by the famous Roman Empire, Adriano, Imperatore Adriano in Italian. And it's outside of Rome. So this is a big villa, which was built in the honor of this big emperor, and its location is very peculiar because it's located between the two tributaries of the river called Anian, and the plain below Tivoli in the Est Rome, so between these rivers and Tivoli. And the Imperial chose this location because of reason, because it is an important area full of vegetation, and it was also a good area for strategic reasons. So it was important also for reason like war reason, strategic, etc. And the architecture project of the villa represent a real city. So if you go to this villa, you have the feeling to be in a real city. It's not like a villa. So I think about something like Versailles. Maybe it is the Versailles version of Rome, something like that. So you can have an idea of how big it is. And so, in this villa, there are many locations. There is spas, so thermal water. I think it's very beautiful. Or there are the Imperial Palace, the summer residence, and the monumental area, like you can see in this picture, even if now there are ruins. So, of course, we cannot see the villas it was before, but now they are doing a lot of restructuration work because there was a lot of time in history that the villa was left and nobody cared about this location, and only in the last few years they are trying to renovate and searching for the lost beauty of this place. So maybe you can find ruins, but there are still new things to find. Another site, still not in Rome, but next to Rome, it's the Etruscan metropolis. I think it's very interesting because it's something nobody thinks about, because it's still an important part of Italian history. With these two necropolis includes the Bantitaccia and Monterozzi, which are the main cemetery, because necropolis this word is made of the word necro, which means death, and polis, which is city. So it is like the city of death because it is a big cemetery which look like a city. The most important city-states are Seveteri and Tarquinia. And so the necropolis near Cerveteri is known as the Banditaccia and contains thousands of tombs. So every Etruscan person was in this necropolis. And this is a real site, very ancient, because I think these Etruscan metropolis are more ancient than the Roman Empire, so it's very old. This is a picture of how these tombs look like. So they seem a little houses, because I think the idea of this tomb was very similar to the idea the Egyptian from Egypt had about their death. So there is an afterlife. So the dead could enjoy their afterlife and in this house. So it's like they live another life and they have still a house where they can live. I think it's a very peculiar idea. So that's why this concept of death was very important for these people. So the Banditaccia necropolis reproduce of Città dei Vivi. In Italian, it means the city of living. In this Città dei Vivi is in the city of Caere. This site represents an exceptional example of Etruscan domestic architecture. So it's their way of architecture. So it is also important. I think it's also important if you want to know more about art in ancient time. So the art you could find in Italy in an ancient time, because it's from the pre-Roman period. And it's one of the biggest sites in the Mediterranean basin. And now we left Rome and we will go to another important city in Italy, which is Pompeii. I think Pompeii is one of the most famous locations of Italy. And I think one of the most fascinating and mysterious city you can visit in Italy. Pompeii is an ancient city located in the region of Campania. It's next to Napoli. Pompeii is famous because of the catastrophe, because the city was destroyed when the Mount Vesuvius erupted after in this period, and it erupted in the middle of the night when people were sleeping. So actually I think it's very sad, because these people were sleeping when the mountain exploded, and they were buried in volcanic ashes and toxic gas that came from the eruption. And so this is a picture of the city, because when you go to Pompeii, you can actually visit and enter in every house. So it's, even in this case, we have a city which now is like a necropolis, like the one we see before. And so this city remained under the ash, frozen in the time when the volcano was erupted. So it's like a picture. I visited Pompeii. It was very strange. It gave you many strange feelings when you realize that those persons that look like statue, because when you go there, you think they are statue. You think they are not real people, but they were real people. And I recommend to go there and experiment this kind of feeling. And in Pompeii, there is this famous piece of art, which is in the La Villa dei Misteri. La Villa dei Misteri means the Villa of the Mysteries, because it is an important painting. And in this is one of the paintings you can find in this villa. And this in particular, this painting tells about a story which is called Mysteries, because it is a cult. So the cult of Dionysus. Dionysus was an important god of the mythology. So actually it is like a story. So there is all the process of this cult, the ritual. So this painting represents the ritual of Dionysus. So it's very interesting. Yes, so actually, I think also if you go in Pompeii, also you have also the change to go to the Vesuvius. At least I remember when I was a child, I went on vacation in Pompeii, and me and my family climbed the Vesuvius, which is very high. And I think
that's the one that exploded, right?
It's it was the last time it exploded, it destroyed Pompeii, but now you can also climb and see. I think it's very beautiful, because you can see all the city of Naples and the landscape, the vegetation, all the monuments from the Vesuvio, and it is a very beautiful site. And so I recommend, and there is also a natural park you can visit. So there is in this World Heritage, there are also little World Heritage. So it's like the entire city is a site. And I thank you so much for listening to my presentation. And of course, there are more to say. And if you want to know more about other important sites you can find in Italy, maybe you want to organize a vacation and you are interested to know more about it, you can book my lesson when I can give you more suggestions and talk about more of these sites, which are, I think, endless. Yeah, so I also teach Italian, so I can give also the same lesson, but in English and in Italian. So you can also learn Italian while you learn more about these wonderful places. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That was super interesting. Yeah, I found the what is it, the houses for the dead, the tombs, really interesting. I was wondering if you know, because you mentioned the palace before, so was that just for kind of the emperor family, or was that for rich people in that time as well? Like, are there a lot of them, or just a few for like very special people?
Yeah, I think it was actually like Versailles, so it was in honor of the emperor, but every rich person could join and also live there because there were spas. So it was actually a place where rich people could have fun, enjoy their life, and they rich have some enjoyable time together because it was, I think, for entertainment also.
I see. And so you said it's outside Rome, it's near Rome. So
Yeah.
is it something students can visit on a one-day trip, or if someone is
I don't know, because actually I think it takes a lot of time to visit Rome in general because
Yeah.
I think it takes a lot of time. So maybe you can actually plan and decide which things you care the most. But maybe it is something peculiar. So maybe if you like art, for example, if you like art, if you are a art student, maybe I think it would be a good place to visit, especially if you are an architect. If you study architecture, I think it's very interesting for a student.
Yeah, definitely. There's so many different buildings from different times as well to visit, probably. So
yeah. So I think for a art student, it's a dream, and they would have a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, let me just also see what we got in the chat. Okay. So the student Fubar Inuf, or that's an L, I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, is talking about a Netflix series that is currently running that they've watched, which I think is a Japanese series called Teruma Eromae. And I think, so they say that the story of Pompeii and Adrian is also covered in that show or that anime.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, maybe they saw a bit of Italian history through that. I'm not sure. It's maybe a comedy. I'm not sure. I just know that it's a Japanese series. So I don't know how historically correct it is. But yeah, that's definitely interesting.
Yeah, interesting. I should take a look.
Yeah, please check it out. Yeah, I think there's an anime version and with people actors, so there's different ones. Yeah. Okay, let's see what else. No other question for now. Okay. もうそうですね。先ほども、言いましたけど、もし後でこれもちょっと聞きたかったと思った方は、ぜひ後でも、チャットに書いていただければ、最後にもう一度先生の皆さんに聞きたいと思いますので、if you have any questions that you remember too late, then don't worry, you can still put them in the chat and then we'll just ask them at the end again. Okay, so I'm not sure how we should proceed now. I think Shirin is back. Would you like to go now or would you like to go at the end? Okay, so we might still have a bit of a connection issue on Shirin's side. So let's maybe just do Dante's presentation now and then check in with Shirin again at the end.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Oh, yes.
The video is very glitchy and I'm...
Okay.
Okay. Are you able to hear me? Hello, everyone.
Yes, we can hear you well. So you can also do it without video, which is sad because I saw you earlier and you've dressed up really beautifully to match the theme. But you can try to share your screen and just start and then we'll see how it goes. Or not. Oh no, maybe the connection isn't good enough for it. Okay, yeah, then I'm sorry for all of the back and forth. Then let's try again at the end. Dante, would you like to share your screen?
Hey guys, yeah, just give me a moment. How's that? Can you guys see?
Yes, we can see.
Cool. Okay, guys. Well, first of all, I just want to say thanks for everyone before me. It was pretty interesting. I'll try to keep that same quality. So my name is Dante. I'm from Canada. I've been really lucky enough to live in Georgia, the country, not the state. And I've been there for about 2 years now. I was there for about 2 years. For those of you who don't know, Georgia is actually located north of Turkey. So north of Turkey and actually south of Russia. It's in a really cool location where, you know, east meets west. And if you actually talk to Georgians and you ask them, are you European or Asian? Lots of Georgians will actually say either or. So you'll meet Georgians who say, oh, we're Asian. Or you'll actually meet Georgians who say, hey, we're actually European. So because it's in such a central location, you have all these amazing sites. The one I'm going to be talking to you guys today will be Gergeti Holy Trinity Church, or just Gergeti Church. If you guys have been to Georgia or are interested in visiting Georgia, please comment and let us know why you guys were looking at Georgia. Anyway, so some quick facts about Georgia. It's actually, like I said before, very diverse. You have everything from, you know, adventuring, hiking. I know Italy has some incredible wine, but Georgia actually has the oldest wine ever found on the planet. And if you've tasted Georgian wine, you'll know that it's actually one of the most incredible things. Even if you're not a wino, tasting the wine there is just, it's amazing. You have beaches there, you have the mountains, and yeah, you actually have so many sites as well. And I know Georgia's just home to just 3 World Heritage sites, but you have a lot of other UNESCO smaller sites located around the city. Sorry, around the country. So about Holy Trinity Church. Now, what you see here in this picture is you see, you know, 2 or 3 villages and some arrows. The church is actually located at the top of that mountain on the arrow, and to the, I guess, north of the church is a famous mountain called Gergeti Mountain. Now, this photo is actually taken from a travel site, but I've used the photos before, and again, they just kind of want people to come visit the country. It just actually opened up maybe like 15, 20 years ago, so it's still relatively unknown, and it's very open to tourists from, you know, all over the world. So actually getting to Holy Trinity Church does look a little bit challenging, but I promise it's not. From the main city, from the capital city, you can actually take a day trip, maybe 6 hours, 7 hours, and actually do this all in one day by car. I don't suggest you do this just because it is such a rich, diverse area where you have all these cool villages, wildlife, hiking, lakes. Also, you have lots of accommodations. So whether you're into Airbnbs, homestays, I don't know, maybe you like walking around and finding your own place to sleep. You have all these, you know, really cool places to stay inside this this village. And the village's name is Stepitsminda. And believe me when I say Georgian is just a crazy language. So again, if you do decide to visit Georgia and you want to visit Holy Trinity Church, try to stay in a small town in Stepitsminda. It's super local. The food's amazing and it's super cheap. So yeah, let's try to get to the church. So as you can see, it's just like that. It's literally built on the top of the mountain. It's still very, very wild, as you can tell. There's no Walmarts anywhere. There's no huge skyscrapers. There's just the church and nature, which I think is super cool. Hiking from the village to actually getting here is not that bad. It'll take you maybe around 4 to 6 hours, 2 ways, depending on how quick you are. So maybe 2 hours there, 2 hours back. But again, that depends on how quick you are. I'll show you an easier way to get up there if hiking's maybe not your thing. But if it is your thing, please take the time, get up in the morning and just do the walk. You will not forget it. And I'll show you, one of my favorite things about the walk up to the church. Yeah, there it is. So actually walking up to the church, I'm a bit of a nature boy, being from Canada, and these are wild horses. It's one of the really cool things about Georgia. Like I said, it's just so wild. And when imagine taking a hike, and you have these horses just approach you. Now, these horses, of course, are very used to having people. So they will approach you, they will smell you and sniff you. And, there's even donkeys out there. So, going on this hike first thing in the morning and seeing these horses was really, really super cool. And so let's go on a little bit. I'll show you what I mean. So again, we're walking on this highway. They have the highway built there, so you can actually just walk up the highway, or you can take the mountain path. We took the mountain path. And taking the mountain path, you do come across some wildlife, again, some horses. And the horses, again, on the way to the church, the horses will smell you and eat some food. If they smell you have apples or something, they will, they're not aggressive. They're actually super, super nice. This one's actually, I had an apple in my hand, and this horse was obviously super hungry, and it kind of just took a bite out of my hand. I still have both hands, as you can tell, so they're not dangerous. And if you're into wildlife, please visit Georgia. Moving on. So the church itself. I know there's so many old churches around the world, but I really, really want to emphasize how cool Georgian churches are. This church in particular doesn't have a known architect, which means nobody really knows who built it. And I think that's actually kind of cool in a way, because it could have been anybody. It could have been, some villagers. It could have been some monks. It could have been, I don't know, the old king. But it is an unknown architect built in the 14th century. There are churches around the world. If you go to Liverpool, Milan, Mexico City, Istanbul, all these churches are kind of located inside of a big city where you have McDonald's, KFCs, skyscrapers. The thing with these old school churches in Georgia is they're really in the middle of nowhere. They're on a mountain, or they're in some weird village, or you have to drive like 3 hours to get there. And the reason for this is because Orthodox religion tends to be quite, let's say old-fashioned. And if you build your church in nature, it's kind of seen as being closer to God. It's obviously more peaceful, less noise, very simple, and gives the monks or the nuns there time to really think and pray or worship. Again, if you're not into hiking, you can take a car from the village to get up here, and the car ride's only like 10 minutes, 20 minutes from the town. But again, if you have a chance, walk it. Another thing about the Orthodox churches, I think, is very interesting and might be a little bit different from traditional churches, is the formality. So, for example, if you guys have been to Thailand, or if you've been to, I don't know, another famous site for having big temples or famous temples, you are expected to dress conservatively. Now, what I mean by this is if you're a woman and you have long, beautiful hair, or you're younger, or maybe you've been hiking for like, I don't know, 3 hours, you're gonna get hot, right? So you might have some shoulders out. You might be wearing a t-shirt, or you might be wearing shorts with a little bit of leg. When you go to these sites, especially these old school sites, it is very important to think and be respectful. So for example, covering your shoulders, covering your legs, covering your hair even. So you are expected to wear a scarf. Scarves, of course, you guys will know for winter. But scarves, in this sense, will be covering your hair. So they will you will tie it around your head to hide your hair, and of course hide your legs if possible. Now for the boys, same kind of thing. No tank tops. Try to cover your legs. It is a little bit easier for guys because it is Orthodox like that. But again, be respectful. And if you forget your scarf, don't worry. All these Orthodox churches are, they're used to having modern people come to visit. So they will give you a scarf. They will give you, something to cover your shoulders or something to cover your hair. But again, I want to emphasize, please be respectful when you go to these sites. One more thing I think is a little bit different from most churches or temples. In most churches or temples, you can usually take pictures inside. So if you have like a beautiful interior, so the inside of a church, you can take a picture. For Orthodox churches, especially these old-fashioned ones, it might be disrespectful to actually do that. So thankfully, if you know a little bit of body language, you look at the priest or you look at the security guard sometimes, and that's universal for, can I take a picture? So if you go inside and you see, oh God, this is a great place for a selfie, please look at the priest or please look at the security guard and make this, gesture with your hands, and they'll say yes or no depending on the rules of the church. Oh. So some closing things about Georgia. And again, Georgia is still a developing economy, still a developing country. There's just so much more than this, tiny church in the middle of nowhere. It's still so untouched. And the best thing about Georgia, I think, for everybody, is the fact it's one of the few countries in the world with an open visa for everybody. So it doesn't matter where you're from, where what your background is, your religion even. Georgia's open. And the visa is not for 1 week or 2 weeks. It's a visa for 365 days. That's a 1-year visa to kind of really be free. And I know with all this lockdown stuff, it's really hard to kind of get out and travel and blah, blah, blah. Imagine having a 365-day visa for exploring a country. So it was one of the first things that kind of attracted me to live there for 2 years. Again, very affordable, excellent hospitality. The food is incredible, food. And again, it's relatively untouched. And English will do okay. If you speak Russian, that works too. And unfortunately, Georgian's not the easiest language. So work on your English skills, and hopefully you can get by. But again, body language is a good place to start. Well, okay. If you guys have any questions, if you want to talk about, how Georgia was, I have a lot of friends who open businesses in Georgia. So if you're looking for, something interesting to start or something interesting to do, I'll be online after this. If you guys want to have a quick chat. So send me a message, and I look forward to meeting you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. That was really, really beautiful. And one of the students in the chat, Satomi Uchida, also said, what a breathtaking scenery. I agree. That's amazing photos. And some of them you took yourself, right? I mean, of course, the one you were in, but also with the horses and the scenery, right?
Yes. We, it's unfortunate. A lot of the photos I take have my face in it, and it's just me making stupid faces for camera, right? Trying to be as silly as possible. But again, it was super fun, and just Google Georgia. You'll come across a whole bunch of really nice things to see.
Yeah, no, really, really impressive. Another student called Makiko says, it's really interesting that you can interact with the wild horses there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Sorry, were you a bit scared at first approaching the horse, or
Yes.
Did you know it was okay?
Well, the horses kind of just approached us, to be honest. I'm not going to run, right? Like, it's kind of weird. But that town, Stepitsmida, has all these cows, and I've never seen so many cows on the street walking home or walking to get something to eat. So it's kind of my first food experience, being from a big city, to kind of interact with so many animals at the same time.
Okay, nice. Yeah, that sounds really fun. And a student called Aki says that it's a beautiful place and that they hope it continues to be preserved. Yeah, I mean, when the church is so far up in the mountain and probably also exposed to a lot of weather phenomenon, it's probably a lot of work to keep it looking nice as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. And the government does depend a lot on international groups to help maintain the sites. That's why, being a World Heritage Site, I think is kind of tricky, because I think everyone does have to pay a little bit to maintain the quality of these sites. Georgia does depend on foreign aid and hopefully that money is going towards preserving this stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, I was also actually wondering when we created this campaign, and maybe you've seen on the page, we've tried to differentiate by kind of continents or areas. And then with your lesson, I was like, oh, do we put it in the Europe or the Asia section? And then
where
we
does
just,
he belong?
yeah, decided on one, but we were sure that it was kind of wrong too because of its location. Yeah.
No, that's cool. That's cool. Like I said, it just kind of depends on who you ask. The conflict itself.
Oh, we got another question. Kohate Haha says, I really want to fly to Georgia right now. They missed the first part of the presentation. Oh yeah, maybe you know, are there direct flights from Georgia to Japan or Japan to Georgia?
Honestly, I don't. Georgia's, you're gonna have to fly to Istanbul, and from Istanbul, it's a one-way, or you can even take the bus from Istanbul if you really want. I have met a lot of Japanese people just traveling, who spend like half a year traveling this country. Yeah,
if it's so easy or convenient to get a visa, then and if people also speak quite good English, then that's really nice to stay for a while. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, great. I think let me just quickly track back because for Lauren, we had another question about Italy, about the Roman sites. If you know, did people prepare for the volcanic eruption? Did they know that might happen at some point back in those ancient days? Oh, you're still muted. I'm sorry.
Sorry, no. Of course, it was out of nowhere because everyone was sleeping when this catastrophe happened. And so maybe I think somebody didn't even realize they were dying. So they died in their sleep. And I think it was the most tragic thing. So I don't think they didn't know because I think in the ancient time, they didn't have the instrument. Science was not so developed right like now. But nowadays, people and scientists and people in general check on the volcano. Because in Italy, we have also another important volcano in Sicily, which is Mount Etna. And it's it's the biggest volcano in Europe, and it could erupt. So it's also another World Heritage Site, actually, but it's also very dangerous because it also, there are a lot of check because nobody knew when it can erupt, because it also creates earthquakes, because Italy is a very dangerous place because of earthquake, like in Japan, I think. In Japan, there is the same problem. And in Italy, there is this problem. So they also have to control and to study. But it's also important for scientific purpose because they can also learn new things about this phenomena thanks to this volcano because they are active.
I see. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, and I guess people in old times might have heard like stories about it erupting, but they weren't sure or something.
Actually, in the ancient time, they thought it was because of the gods, especially the Etna is linked to many ancient gods of Greek. So they thought it was like a punishment of gods, something like that. So of course, it creates many interesting legends, mythologies in this place. And even Etna is seen as a god itself in Sicily.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Then we're jumping around the whole world. So we went from Georgia to Italy, and now we're going to South Africa. So Hanne, would you like to tell us more about the Kingdom of Flowers?
Yes. Thank you so much, Madeleine. Good evening from a rainy South Africa. I just would like to say send warm greetings to my loyal students and fellow tutors who are also attending. Thank you so much. Yes, we're looking at South Africa's unique floral kingdom. So we're going to talk a little bit about flowers now. And I'd like to ask our students to maybe put in the chat for us if you like to drink rooibos or honeybush tea, because those teas are connected to South Africa's unique floral kingdom. So that would be great if you can let us know in the chat. Here we are looking on the left side. I hope my screen is sharing.
Yes, perfect. We can see it.
On the left side, you can see the giant king protea, which is South Africa's national flower. So we will definitely encounter this in the floral kingdom in South Africa. So just a little bit about what a floral kingdom is. It is a specific area with very specific plant growth, and the whole world can be divided into 6 floral kingdoms. So here's a map showing that. And if we go down to the southernmost tip of Africa, you can see a red area that is the Cape Floral Kingdom, which is the smallest floral kingdom of all of the 6. And it is so small, but it's very rich in plant species. And it even has more plant species than all the plant species in the United Kingdom, in Britain. So it's really special. And this is a biodiversity hotspot. So biodiversity is the number of plants and animals in a specific area. So it's considered a hotspot in that term. And in 2004, this Cape Floral Kingdom was stipulated as a World Heritage Site. And because it has such special plants, it even has special name for the plants. It's called fynbos. So that's what we call these special plants growing here in the very small floral kingdom at the tip of Africa. So just zooming into a little bit into South Africa, if we look at this green area, this whole green area is known as the Cape Floral Kingdom. And I'm very privileged to live here. It is quite a wide area. It stretches over 1,000 kilometers and about 100 kilometers wide. And it includes mountains, mountain ranges, national parks. So it's really a large area. And maybe the students can let us know if they have visited Cape Town, which is also included in this Cape Floral Kingdom. So there we can see Cape Town, which is also well-known tourist attraction. So as I mentioned, flora, just want to say something about flora. You'll hear me talking about that. That particular word means all the plant life in a specific area. And I've mentioned the Cape Floral Kingdom. That is an area with very specific plant growth. So there are 6 floral kingdoms in the world. And the one that I'm talking about, the Cape Floral Kingdom, is the smallest of the 6. I mentioned it is around 100 kilometers wide, 1,000 kilometers long. But although it is the smallest of all the plant kingdoms, it is the richest in plant species. It really has remarkable flora. And I also mentioned, we call it a special name, fynbos. And that's because the plants are just so unique. And I've took this picture on the right-hand side of cone bushes, which you will definitely find in this Cape Floral Kingdom. So now you might ask, where can I go and see fynbos? Well, I would definitely recommend the famous botanical garden in Cape Town. It's called Kirstenbosch. Maybe you can let us know in the chat if you have visited this botanical garden. It is actually a very natural garden. As you can see on the picture, it includes mountains. It's not an artificial botanical garden. And it also includes the Table Mountain National Park. And this botanical garden, Kirstenbosch, is known as the most beautiful garden in Africa. So I would definitely recommend, if you can visit this botanical garden, please do so. And you will be able to see beautiful fynbos plants there. it's very interesting and remarkable, actually, that these fynbos plants are adapted to fire. They need fire to grow well. So it's very, very unique. And I think students find it always interesting to know about how they are adapted to fires. Now, because this Cape Floral Kingdom is so unique and amazing, botanical collectors came from European countries from all over the past few centuries to come and visit and collect plants. Here you can see a statue of John Burchell. He was a famous English explorer, and he came to this Cape Floral Kingdom in 1810, and he explored all the mountain ranges, and he collected up to 50,000 samples of plant and animal species. And yeah, that just shows you how unique and special this area is, and that the European plant hunters or plant collectors came specially and traveled many months to this tip of Africa to come and observe these special plants. So in the Cape Floral Kingdom, you will definitely encounter proteas. They're also known as sugar bushes. And this particular one is the giant king protea, which is South Africa's national flower. And there are many protea species. You can even get a field guide that show you all the different species. There are up to 360 of them. And they differ from small shrubs all the way to large trees. And you can see they have hard, leathery leaves, and they come in all different colors. So really special flowers. You will also find in the Cape Floral Kingdom some ericas. So they are also known as heaths, and they are bell-shaped, or some of them are more tubular. And you will find them in all colors except for blue. And there's also quite a number of species, up to 657 of them. And maybe you can notice that they have very small, narrow leaves. That's quite featuristic of them. And they can be as tall as trees or very low shrubs. But you will definitely find them in the Cape Floral Kingdom. And then restios. Restios, they look grass-like, but they're not real grasses. There's also a study guide and a field guide on all the species that you can find. They don't have real leaves, but they have very, very small flowers. Maybe you can see there on the photograph, up to 330 species. And they're so special, they even have their own type of roots known as rhizomes. So really, really fantastic, remarkable grass-like species. So yes, so if you enjoy rooibos or honeybush tea, you're actually enjoying some fynbos plants all the way from the Cape floristic region. So yes, enjoy your teas, and thank you so much for attending. I hope you enjoyed listening to this unique World Heritage Site at the tip of Africa.
Thank you so much, Hanne. That was so interesting. Okay, let's see what we have in the chat. Some students responded to a question about rooibos tea in the beginning. So both Cholmayo and Kohatehaha say that they love rooibos tea. The second student asked if you know what rooibos means, or if it can be translated.
Rooibos means red. So it always has that red color. The flower itself is yellow, but yeah, rooi means red.
Nice. I actually learned a little bit about the rooibos tea in another seminar that we did like last year about different African countries. And I asked that tutor from South Africa the same question, which is, how do you drink your rooibos tea? Do you put anything in or without anything?
Yeah, in South Africa, we usually drink it without any milk, but some people like milk as well. Some people even add sugar, but the best is without milk.
Okay, so the original way how to drink it in South Africa would be pure.
Yeah.
Okay, great. The student Sachi Go asks about the first flower that you showed and says that it looks very big. So how big is it?
Yes, the giant protea, the king protea, I would say anything from 30 centimeters wide. It is really a giant flower. Yeah.
Okay, wow. So I was wondering, do these plants or flowers usually really only grow in these special places, or is the climate also okay for having some of them in gardens where you live?
That's a great question, Madeline. They are adapted to mostly to grow near mountain areas. But some people actually do plant them in their gardens these days. So you get like horticultural types that are actually adapted so that you can plant them in gardens. But they usually don't like a lot of fertilizer and water. So because they're adapted to the dry climate.
Okay, yeah, that is probably very hard to take care of. So definitely not for me. I'm very bad with plants. Okay, yeah, then let's check in again with Shirin. How is the connection? Would you like to tell us more about the Tajmahal? Yes, we can hear you.
It's fine. It's little, you can hear me, right?
We can hear you
see
fine.
Me as well?
Yes, it's perfect.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so shall I go ahead?
Yes, feel free to share your screen.
So hello, everybody. And once again, a wonderful evening from and looking at the, based on the topic that I have, I just try to, on keeping it on the lighter side, I try to personify the lady character of this Taj Mahal love story, and so that I could feel myself a little bit more confident to present you the story behind Taj Mahal. But before even I start with talking on the topic about the Taj Mahal, I would just like to check with you people if you have actually got a chance anytime to visit it, specifically the Taj Mahal.
No, but I'd love to go. Yeah, maybe someone in the chat can tell us if they've been to India.
You can just let me know. At the end of the presentation, and I would be glad to know that. And if not, I look forward to you all sometime in the near future to pay a visit to this historical monument from India. Okay, having said that, before I actually go into the history of Taj Mahal, be it the history behind the love story or the architectural history, I would just like to share with you all that this Taj Mahal, the historical monument from India, is considered as a World Heritage Site by the UNESCO. Yeah. Also, not to forget, it's the 7th wonder of the world. I feel proud about it as an Indian.
I'm not sure if you're sharing your screen yet. Could you try sharing it so we can have an image as well?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought I've shared that. Okay, hang on.
Thank you.
Okay. I just did that.
Okay, just give it a second. Might take a bit too long.
Share. I did share. Are you able to see that?
Not yet. Oh, now it's loading.
I just did that. Okay. I was under the impression I actually shared it. You get that now?
No, it's not displaying. Let me just share it from my side, and then you can just tell me to go to the next image. So can you stop your screen share, please?
Are you able to see that, Madeline?
No, it's not showing right now.
No? Yeah.
Okay, so let me just...
To me, I get a message that it's shared. Oh, can you hear me at least?
Yes, we can hear you. Okay, so I hope my screen is sharing now. Can you see it?
Okay.
Okay, how is it? Can everyone see the Taj Mahal?
So
no? Okay, that's strange. What's happening?
I think we'll have to wait for a couple of minutes, but I think in the meantime, I'll just more than the slides, I think I have a lot to speak. Should that be okay if I go ahead and speak?
Yes, sure. No problem.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know why.
Okay, I tried sharing again. I'm sorry, can you see it?
Yes.
No, why is this?
Okay, I would share with you the
Okay, I stopped again. Oh no, now we're having sound issues as well, I think. Shirin, are you still there? Oh no, okay, let's just wait a little bit more. Let's see. How do we do that? We can tell you a little bit more generally about the campaign, but again, I'm not sure if you can see that page since it seems to be a bit buggy. Okay, cool, that's sharing. Yeah, so as you can see, we have this campaign going all of April. We've had other symposiums as well. So we've had 2 in Spanish about heritage sites in Mexico, as well as in Spain and Taiwan, but both of them were held in Spanish. We're here right now, and then we have another upcoming one about heritage sites in China and Taiwan in Chinese. So if any of you speak Chinese, feel free to join there as well. And then we have our different regions. You can find Amaka's lesson here in the Africa section, as well as Hannah's lesson as well, and other tutors' lessons too. Then we have the Asia section with a lot of lessons on Japan as well. Yeah, and there's Shirin's lesson too. So in case we have a bit more of trouble, you can definitely contact her directly. We had a test call before, her internet connection was fine, so it's not a general issue at all. So feel free to book her lesson separately too. We have the Europe section with Lauren's lesson here as well. And everyone just gave a short introduction. So if you want to learn more, then definitely check out the lessons. And you can see there are other places, some others in Italy as well, and then other places across Europe. For North America, we have 2 lessons, including Lauren's. And then for South America as well, 2 lessons. I think those are both the tutors that also joined for the seminar about Mexico. And then at the end, we have some general ones if you want to maybe take another world trip and check out a couple of different places as well. Okay, so let's get back here. Okay, it seems like we unfortunately lost Shirin. So yeah, please check out the presentation you have on the right side in the supplementary text to see the beautiful images of the Taj Mahal. And then feel free to book her lesson to learn more as well. It's definitely worth it. So I'd love to go maybe back to your screens too. Okay, so let's maybe, am I sharing again? Okay, great. So let's maybe go into the self-introductions then. Amaka, would you like to tell us a bit more about what kind of lessons you teach on Cafe Talk? I've put English as your category here, but maybe you can tell us a bit more about your lessons.
Okay, cool. All right. So yeah, on Cafe Talk, I teach people how to improve their speaking conversation skills, so that my lessons are based on helping people improve on your English speaking especially. And if you also want to know more about West Africa as a whole or Nigeria specifically, I have lessons on Nigeria, culture, and more places to go to if you want to know. So yeah, so I help you improve your speaking, and also I'll teach you a lot of West African culture and Nigeria.
Thank you. And thank you so much for telling us more about I forgot the name again, but the beautiful mountain and the buildings and the culture and everything. That was so interesting. Okay, then let's go to Lauren. Can you tell us a bit more about your English lessons as well?
Yeah, so on Cafe Talk, I offer mostly conversation lessons of different lengths, along with a lesson on idioms, which is a way that you can make your speech more colorful, so to say, more interesting, and make it easier to listen to native speakers when they speak, as well as the lesson currently being offered on Monticello, where you can talk with me about Virginian history, American history, or the ideals that Monticello represents. And I'm also working on some other lesson types if you want to stay tuned to see what I offer in the future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And then next we have Lauren. So thank you, first of all, for doing this whole speech in English, because usually you don't teach English. But I've added 2 of your categories. I think you might have had a few other smaller lessons as well. But can you tell us more about what you teach?
Yeah, on Cafe Talk, I teach Italian. So every level, if you want, I offer conversation lesson or grammar lesson. And also, I like to teach with fun. So I also teach Italian through Italian movies, short movies, or songs, or reading. So we can read articles in Italian and learn new words and everything you want. So I can adapt my lesson to every student. Other than Italian, I also give a tarot lesson. So I teach my student how to read tarot cards. Or I am also a writer, so I also offer creative writing lesson if you like to write, if you would like to become a writer, or you want to know more about this job, or just to improve your creative skills. I would like to teach you because it's my hobby, but I also like to explore this fun hobby and activity of writing in a creative way.
Great. And the writing lesson and the tarot lessons, can students book them in English as well?
Yeah. I can give in English, and I have also Italian students who take tarot lessons, so they can learn Italian and tarot at the same time, but I can also create lesson in English as the student wants.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. If students speak Italian, then definitely that's even more fun, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, they can learn many things at the same time.
Yeah. Okay. Then, next we would have had Shirin's profile. Shirin teaches English, but she also teaches her other native language, Hindi. She also teaches German because she lived in Germany for a while, and she is also fluent in German. And she has also a lot of academic lessons about math subjects as well. I think those are for kids. So yeah, definitely a wide variety, and the Tajmahal lesson too. So feel free to check out her profile as well. And Dante, can you tell us more about your lessons too?
Hey guys, so just a kind of summary. So if you're looking for business skills or cultural differences between Asian markets and North American markets, we kind of cover that. We also do a lot of travel English, especially if you're coming to visit North America or Canada. And then we go on to maybe reading and writing if you're interested in that. But besides English, I also do blockchain, cryptocurrency, and finance lectures and conversations. Even if that's not your thing, we do a lot of exploring and a lot of chat about that kind of stuff. So send me a message.
Okay, nice. Yeah, a lot of things to learn in English while studying and practicing English as well. So that sounds fun if people are already interested in those topics. Okay, and Hannah, can you tell us a bit more about your topics as well?
Thanks, Madeline. Yes, I have a wide range of English lessons. My most popular lessons are on speaking practice. And I'm also very passionate about reading. I feel you can really improve your English skills by reading. So I have some lessons on reading as well for kids and for adults. And I'm also a music teacher. I teach violin on Cafe Talk as well for adults and for kids. So yes, hopefully I'll see some students there as well.
Nice. Yeah. So if any students want to start studying the violin or want to pick it up again, then definitely check out her lessons for that as well.
Yes,
okay,
definitely.
great. Yeah, then let's go back to it should be hopefully all of us on the screen now. So yeah, I just want to thank all of you again for taking us on this great world trip. We've went to so many places and seen such amazing cultures, and I think some of you might have time to be in online standby afterwards as well. Can you just let everyone know who's on online standby later? Lauren and Dante? Okay, yes. So any of the students, if you want to check out online standby and ask a few more questions about Georgia, the country, not the state, and about the US and Virginia, then definitely check out online standby as well. I want to take a final look in the chat just to see that we didn't miss any big questions. No, looks okay. Yeah, so again, thank you all for joining the 9th symposium and going on this world trip with all of us. It was very nice. We went a little bit over time, so thank you all for staying so long. We've had, I think, 45 students watching. So thank you, everyone. Have a great night and goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Sorry, it's a disappointment
No
from my
problem.
end. Sorry, can't make it.
Okay.
Better luck next time to
bye.
me. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Should cut off.